Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Love Procurement Podcast. My name is Kelly Barner, and I'll be your host for today's conversation. Now, I'm glad to welcome Franck Lheureux, Chief Revenue Officer at Ivalua, and he's going to talk about a topic that might be a little bit controversial, the idea of what it is like to sell to procurement. So, hi, Franck. Thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you for having me, Kelly.
Now, let's talk a little bit about your background first. What brought you into sales, into procurement, to Ivalua, maybe all of the above?
What brought me in sales? First of all, Kelly, I think we are all in sales, meaning as soon as you have an opinion of what good looks like or what right looks like, you try to convince your interlocutors, your friends, you try to sell them an idea, a concept, or a product. That's what we do as humans for living. So translating this in the real business worlds, like you have a challenge, I might have a solution, and just might.
Yeah.
So let's come together, deep dive into what greater looks like, what the opportunity could be for you, and whether my company, my technology could be a resource to offset some of the challenges or unlock further values and opportunities eventually. That's for me what it means to be in sales.
Which is awesome. And to be in sales to procurement is a very unique focus area. Before we dig in a little bit more to your philosophy around being in sales and helping procurement, let's look at the other side of this. What is something about procurement that you've come to love?
Look, again, I love that we meet together, a seller, a buyer, they have something in common. Usually they want to make a deal which is mutually favorable. And what I love about procurement is once you set your hats off just negotiating a deal, a contract, a product, a technology, but you start to wish to co-construct a transformation journey that will be profitable for your organization. As a procurement officer, you're meant to serve your board, executive stakeholders, meet the transformation impediment or imperative, eventually select us as a supplier of choice, a strategic asset. Then this is where the magic happens because we speak the same language, we enrich each other, and jointly, the customer and the supplier we are will put together our best resources, best assets in order to achieve, over deliver on our customers' ambition. And that's what, for me, procurement at its best is. How can we co-create value for the customer I serve, the procurement officer I serve? And more, I have to say, we are in a value creation more than only delivering savings. Very important and they matter, but the value creation aspects, the revenue impact we have nowadays on companies we serve, I sense takes a lot of precedence on the value we can create together.
Yeah. Now it's interesting because procurement is often hearing sales pitches. And I love your idea that being in sales is this idea of having a vision of what good looks like, right? And taking somebody with you on that journey to reach better. But procurement is hearing maybe sales messaging around things that they would buy for their own use, as well as all the work we do in sourcing. So you're hearing sales messaging and information about value proposition for things that we're not ultimately going to make the buying decision about, and we're not even going to use. We're sort of facilitating the process. What are some of the things that anyone trying to sell to procurement needs to understand about what makes this group a unique community to speak with?
I mean, first of all, you're only as good as you understand, I would say, genuinely, deeply, the prospects of a customer you engage with.
Mm.
Every company is unique from the history, the market they serve, their own culture, their differentiation they bring to their own customer and markets. And we first need to research and deeply understand their uniqueness. What's unique in the way you go to business, in the way you form this business? It means almost avoiding what you thought you knew from this market, or industry your prospects belongs to. Start with a fresh mind, because the business problem of today are not the same solution we delivered yesterday or the day before. Is our technology future-proof? Because yes, we can solve today's paradigm transformation our customers are facing. But what about the next year or 5 years or 10 years? We are profoundly seeking for long-term relationship. I love to call it, even though this word is sometimes abused, long-term partnership.
Yeah.
We wish to be an asset that will serve the unique purpose of the prospects or customers we're talking to. And in that regards, I sense procurement has, again, very much evolved in the kind of relationship they wish to build with their ecosystem. It's no more about the cheapest wins. It's no more about, I need to fix my problem for the next 6 months. They wish to find a business partner they can co-create, they can co-innovate with. They can not only, again, restore some broken aspects of their processes or data availability, but how can you grant me that in the next 3, 5, 10 years, the regulation I'm evolving into is going to drastically evolve? The market is going to profoundly change. Geopolitics have blurred a large set of business relationships. How to reinvent ourselves, still relying on the same technology, on the same partner. This is the kind of, again, relationship we try to build with the procurement people. We know and feel the depth of transformation they are underpinning. Their daily reality has nothing to do with what it used to be like 2 years ago. We don't speak about a decade. We speak about a year ago. And the necessity for procurement function to reinvent themselves, now factoring risk, compliance, supply chain resilience, scope-free carbon emission or greenhouse emission overall. How to reduce the water consumption, plastic consumptions in what we manufacture, where source, or we will deliver. As always starts with the way you think about the product and the way you source your supplier ecosystem. Some or most of this paradigm didn't exist 15 years ago, and the cycle time are shifting and drastically reducing. I sense technology can help to offset or at least overcome some of these great new challenges procurement is facing. So it's a fascinating world procurement is going through. It's a fascinating journey of transformation, which is an opportunity if they handle it right. And I sense as salespeople, we're not there just to position a technology. We are there to try to build unique solution. I would almost say dedicated solution. It's still the same standard software, but the way you're going to configure it, the way you're going to approach the business problem can make a whole difference. And it goes way beyond the simple technology offering.
Well, and I appreciate the way that you talk about the evolution of procurement, especially as relates to the passage of time. I don't think I've heard anybody put it quite this way, but it totally aligns with my thinking that we used to talk about decades, and now maybe in a good place, we're talking about years. In some cases, we've had times we're talking about weeks and days. And so how procurement thinks about business challenges and how procurement thinks about their role in them can be something of a gatekeeper to the value they're able to introduce into the organization. Franck, when you think about the procurement teams that really do have that forward-looking perspective, that understand all of the changes and all of the opportunities that have come with them, are there things you can generalize about the procurement teams that are exceptionally effective at creating value for the organization simply in the way that they approach a deal or a partnership?
I sense so. I would say the commonalities about what I call visionaries or leading edge companies and leading edge procurement team starts with realizing for the organizations how mission critical is procurement as a function, how core it is to manage, offset critical business challenges that pops every time, everywhere, no matter which industry you belong to and you serve. Having procurement at a core of supply chain resilience, new product introduction, innovation, via an ecosystem of partners, putting their knowledge together, making procurement the most attractive departments to attract new talents, whether inside the company mobility or external young talents to join procurement, which is a fascinating job and has not always been sold or presented as a fascinating job. In order to do such, you need agile people. Again, realizing yesterday's paradigm won't get me to hit tomorrow's business imperative. Fostering curiosity, fostering long-term relationship. Because interestingly enough, the shortest the disruption cycles are, and they're getting shorter and shorter year after year,
Yeah.
the more you need to build on long-term relationship. Because alone, you cannot serve anymore the pace of disruption or transformation your company is forced to do and to underpin. So agility, seeking for long-term relationship, no bullshit, a genuine engagement. The first thing I say to any sellers in this business, no is a valid answer. You'd rather say no upfront. I cannot fit your business purpose than let customer and yourself under the dangerous illusion, we will find a way. There's not a way, there's only one good way to solve the business challenges through a technology like Ivalua. And no is a receivable answer. So what, to come back to your question, Kelly, what these thought leaders have in common, agility, a large and I would say sophisticated purpose to elevate the procurement function, realizing the amazing impact of technology. Where are your data? Are they available? Are they accurate at any point in time? Are they accessible through a technology that will translate a set of billions of data into a tangible insights, a business insights? Will these business insights transform into an action that will deliver value? This is the paradigm of Gen AI. There is no such relevant Gen AI capabilities if you don't have a set of relevant data to feed the system and human to execute on the scenario recommended by the Gen AI.
Yeah.
And this is where procurement takes its full place, powered by technology.
Now, can we flip that? So that's certainly the ideal thought process, the ideal case, the ideal perspective. Are there situations where you see procurement teams, let's assume unintentionally, actually putting roadblocks in their own path to value? They don't have that open-minded, bigger picture type of philosophy that you're talking about. What are some of those specific obstacles that a procurement team might mistakenly put in their own way?
At some point in time, in every early stage business relationship, any project, RFP, sales engagements, it's always a competition. Procurement do a job for living, which is never awarded by default. A vendor, even Ivalua, top-notch Gartner Magic Quadrants, we are always set in competition. And it's healthy. And procurement have to do their job. A fair, healthy, objective competition. That starts with a process, milestones, a set of decision criteria that they will follow through, sometimes for 12 or 15 months duration. That's how long can take a software selection cycle. But at a given point, procurement has to let us express our own uniqueness. Because sometimes their experience starts nor stops within the boundaries of the four walls of their own company. I bring 560 customer return on transformation experience. I can be consultative. I've experienced what great and good and average looks like. I've seen patterns of projects that don't deliver on value. and I've seen commonalities of highly successful project transformations or procurement teams. Part of us is an advisory.
Yeah.
We want to be consultative. This amazing IP experience we accumulated, it's partially delivered through the technology, but it's partially delivered through the advisory role we want to take. And it starts within a competitive sales cycle. So when procurement people are exclusively driven by their own process, which I respect and understand, not allowing software company like us to augment, make them think through. Have you considered this use case? Why haven't you approached this set of capabilities? You didn't know it exists. That's why I'm here, to tell you what you're not supposed to know. Can I offer you some customer benchmark in a free way, just to augment your process thinking, just to challenge you on what good or great could look like? Because no one's true in isolation. We are stronger as a community. And can I get you access to my community? But when procurement people have to stay stringent into their own processes, they don't access this value add beyond the technology I have to serve. They don't access the advisory piece, the return on 560 customers experience we are here to offer. And we're not always right, but by debating together, we might augment them to a certain extent. And sometimes we are prevented to pitch, augment, being cornered into strongly diligented processes where TCO is the largest awards decision. And don't get me wrong, cost of ownership, budget affordability are critical for any organization. But you cannot make a 5, 10, or 15 years technology decision simply based upon the cheapest win. And we still see sometimes this kind of reaction. So be it.
Yeah. I think it seems like a red flag for procurement in general to not be willing to at least hear out someone that offers an experienced consultative point of view. Because if procurement is putting up a roadblock to hearing that perspective from you and your team, they're also probably doing the same thing with all of the suppliers that come in as part of sourcing projects, whether they're incumbents or new suppliers. There is a wealth of intelligence for us to gain simply by listening. And then we can go back as a team, bring in the business and say, okay, what do we think about this? But not even to be willing to hear it seems like a huge concern for me. Because you do have so much experience to offer, even if it's about what's the difference between good and great, we should be open to that input and respect that as part of the decision.
And if I may, Kelly, it's also part of a cultural fit.
Yeah.
Company to company, people to people. Again, a technology is a set of source code. And Ivalua as the brightest technology serving large, ambitious procurement. Whether you're at the early stage as a startup or whether you're a Fortune 500 company. But at some point in time, it's not just about selecting the single right technology. It's about selecting the single right company, return on experience, what customers of my kinds have done with Ivalua, what's the level of success, return on investments they experience. Does Ivalua culturally fits with my company values? Can I trust these people who are selling to me, demoing to me, who will soon deliver a project to me? Do I trust in 5 or 10 years' time, we will celebrate with Ivalua how great they are and how great they will be for the next decade ahead? It's not just a technology play. And in the circumstances you described, where we face closed chest engagements, sometimes we say no, and we will pull out. Say, Mr. Prospects or Ladies Prospect, we don't sense there will be a good fit and a good match between us. We'd rather rescind now our potential adventure than being pulled in the wrong choice at some point in time of the process. And as much as the customer or the prospect has the choice to award someone else and say no to us, we sometimes have to also say no. We don't feel there will be a proper match amongst our culture, values. We absolutely respect the way you conduct and run your business. We don't sense this is where and how we can add the most value. Others could, but not us. It's the new paradigm, not new,
Yeah.
it's been existing for years, but as much as a prospect is selecting the right technology and the right company partner, we have the same impediments to select also the customers and prospects that we know we can deliver the value they expect from us, or otherwise we could set ourselves in a difficult situation later in time.
Yeah. Now, I think this idea of cultural fit, especially around a technology product, is really interesting. I can see where it would make a big difference during implementation, right? Can you talk a little bit about how that cultural fit, or in cases where it isn't there, the lack thereof, plays out longer term? So if you have a cultural fit and you're able to get through the implementation, however long that ends up taking, what does that cultural alignment allow for 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, if you get to that point? Is it simply a matter of getting to partnership, or is there something more there?
I think there's something more there in the sense of we are investing with and through our customers. They incent us in some R&D direction, new capabilities, new features, new connectors with third-party data providers to enrich the experience, enrich the decision-making process within Ivalua. They coach us in the direction
Yeah.
they want our R&D to go. Some customers are advising us on new capabilities that we're not even aware of. That's how they enrich us, and we want to enrich them in return. This is a fertile ground. This is a real partnership. Sometimes we will deliver innovation through next release, and they won't catch it. We're going to make the job. Our CSM, Customer Success Manager team, our run team, they will make them aware. But if we've not created that level of proximity, of joint engagements, they might miss some value bucket from their Ivalua relationship.
Yeah.
If they don't invest in the relationship as much as we wish to invest ourselves with them, there's a missed value creation opportunity for them. And the software will still deliver superbly right. The software will make the end users and the suppliers connected a bright day in a life using Ivalua. But the next opportunity might be missed. The next disruption they're seeking for, not even being aware that we also could be this partner in 5 or 10 years' time, makes a whole difference. And again, the purpose is to enrich each other. But if you want to dance a tango, you need to be two partners on the dance floor.
Now, from all of these projects that you've worked over the years, are there any stories that you'd like to share that serve as good, memorable examples of what is possible when procurement and sales really do have that cultural fit and are able to partner?
Absolutely. I recall a worldwide leader on their markets, based out of Luxembourg right now, but Fortune 500, who looked at us as a technology to replace another one that didn't deliver over time the results, the expectation. So the reason for us to engage was we want to shift technology, replace a not proper one, eventually with Ivalua. 12 months later, we've been awarded the deal. But still, not for a transformation reason, shifting technology for technology. And the more we went on site and visit them, the more we let them understand, look, You've been highly successful. We deployed the software in time, in budget, with your value expected. But now you understand the unlimited opportunity that exists with Ivalua. Can we now eventually build a transformation program to roll out to many more plants, factories, opcos? Why not build, thanks to us, a central procurement function that didn't exist? Why not make Ivalua your single vendor master data, enriching your 29 ERPs across the world? They looked at us and said, but this is not what we envisage. But it seems that you should be the one on all these new places. Oh, why not suddenly expand to Gen AI and untap the opportunity with us behind Gen AI? So the reason we started was not what we found out after 18 months of partnership and successful go live. And from a technology vendor, we became, I sense, a mission critical asset for the entire organization globally. And the level of relationship enriched so much. The level of value attainment with Ivalua is unprecedented. And this is a story of where we enrich each other on a step-by-step approach. And they come on stage to some of our events. I sense they proudly reflect on their Ivalua assets and investments. Or I don't know, maybe they do the otherwise. They're so proud about what we did together, they want to keep it for themselves and no competitors of them. They wish to access this level of success. I don't know yet.
Yeah.
But it brings value-added story that goes beyond the success of a technology deployment. We genuinely enrich each other. I've seen Ivalua mentioned a couple of times in financial reports. We were a transformation agent. Yes, we delivered financial return, savings in millions or hundreds of. But the opportunity that was unlocked by the technology Ivalua provides to enable product management, bill of material, quality insurance processes, helping packaging, way beyond procurement, internal audit, risk officers are now connected to Ivalua. That's what we're the proudest of.
Yeah.
Not only do we make shine the procurement function within the organization, but we enable almost the entire company when we're engaging on e-catalog punch-out to interact with our technology. And hopefully connecting the procurement to the rest of the organization through the nicest UI UX you can afford through Ivalua. So we connect procurements to their worlds, their stakeholders, and obviously their community.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's stories like that are such an excellent example of what you talked about really as we started the conversation today, that it's not about pressuring someone to try to do something you want them to do. It's about painting a picture of an opportunity and then handing the map, right? And even as you're telling the story about saying, well, okay, we replaced the technology that you had, mission accomplished, but look at all of these other things we can do. I find myself thinking, please don't tell me they said no. Like, it's going to make me feel so awful to find out they said no. And so it's wonderful to hear that they saw the opportunity that you were able to imagine on their behalf and take that opportunity that is truly benefiting from the experience and the advice and that mutual benefit that you bring to that conversation. Now, Franck, we like to finish all of these conversations by sharing a little bit of the love. So when you think about some of the advice that you might offer up, and whether it's just generally to procurement or whether it's someone that's currently going through the process of selecting a provider to work with, what would be a piece of advice that you would like to leave today's listeners with?
Love is an emotion. My advice to procurement people, let your emotions speak. Open your hearts and your mind at some point. We are humans interacting together, trying to co-create value. Value is not just enforcing the right process, is confronting the unknown, confronting the future with today's reality. And neither do I read the future right. Neither any of my customers read the future right. They try to write it properly.
Yeah.
We can co-write it together, but sometimes we have to go adventurous paths to make the future happen in a bright way. And in order to do so, don't just rely on yesterday's recipe for success. Let's try to co-invent this lovely future we all have to create together. So let your emotions speak at some point in time. Let the human, let the guts speak. Let the intuition, the self-intuition speaks. This will make the journey way more funny, way more rewardable. This is the way to attract young talents, if I may, because one thing my kids are telling me, Dad, procurement is boring. I said, no, this is the most fascinating world you can be. It's our job to change our narrative. It's our impediments to change our face, the procurement face to the world. And we have the power to make it the loveliest place in any companies.
Well, Franck, I know I feel inspired. I'm sure everyone listening in or watching feels the same. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us today. And I'm grateful that we had the opportunity to be open and to listen to it.
Thank you so much, Kelly, for the opportunity.